What's one of life's biggest traps that people fall into? Just because you have spare money at the end of the month doesn't mean you need to spend it. Look at this guy, with spare money at the end of the month. Waiting too long for perfect, like the perfect soulmate, house, job, etc., and then letting too many good opportunities pass by. I have heard so many stories from people who have achieved the highest levels of success only to fall into the deepest depression of their life when they realized that even reaching their highest goals didn't fill that piece inside of them that was missing. It's like how any sports team that wins a championship is just grinding again at it the next year. Not saying that pursuing lofty goals isn't worth it, but as the saying goes, it's about the journey and not necessarily the destination. When artists give the concerts and performances of their lives, then going back to their hotels feeling empty. David Duval, the only professional golfer who was considered to be a rival to a young Tiger Woods at the time, famously did this in the airplane ride back home after winning the British Open. He remarked that he felt so empty and said, "Wow, this is it," when holding the trophy on the plane. Sunk cost fallacy. Sometimes you just have to walk away. Doesn't matter what you've invested. The longer you stay, the more you will lose. This is true for relationships, bad jobs, houses and cars you are constantly repairing, the go-kart in your garage. Sometimes you're better off leaving behind the memories, and the emotional and financial investments, and just starting again from scratch. It's never easy, but it's something we all have to do eventually. Let it go. Came to say this too. I stayed at a job for too long because I already put so much time and effort into it even though the salary was crap. I finally had enough and decided to leave, and I'm doing so much better financially, emotionally, physically. It's been 5 years since I left, and sometimes I think what my life would be had I stayed, and it's just depressing. Looking back, leaving was one of my best decisions. Doing nothing because of fear of rejection. Or its cousin, doing nothing because doing something limits your options. Never letting go of the past, that can kill you, I swear. Or more specifically, how things that happen have hurt. Letting go of the pain. It's not always easy, but it is a trap. Or, slightly differently, regretting past decisions you made or opportunities you didn't take. Hindsight is 20/20, and I feel like I wasted a lot of my 20s regretting the past instead of enjoying the present. Heck, I guess I'm doing it right now. Not knowing how to use credit cards right. Spend $5,000 and pay back minimum balance $10. No? $15 or you will never get ahead on it. I know you're being sarcastic obviously, but I know someone who would run up a balance on his CC, and then purposely make small payments to pay it back. When I found this out and told him what an idiot he is, and asked why he would do that, he said that he heard that if you carry a balance, the CC company will report better to your credit report since they are making interest off of you, so it will help your credit score more than if you paid it off every month. The sheer stupidity of that comment just made me drop my jaw. I work for a credit card company and I came here to say credit. I speak to people daily in debt they'll never get out of, and that's one of their credit cards. Lifestyle creep. Feeling the need to upgrade cars, houses, jewelry, etc. to keep up with your peers. Yes, lifestyle inflation is how people earning $100K plus a year life paycheck to paycheck. Thinking that you're running out of time to do something because someone else has done it already. I could absolutely shred guitar licks, of all genres, at age 17. I could play literally everything lead guitar-wise. 10 hours a day practice sessions for 9 years and sacrificed grades, social life and all that comes with that. I gave it up when I heard Steve Vai live. It crushed me. Try as I might, there was no way I could do what he was doing. I couldn't get over it. Decades later, I realized I made a huge mistake. I was good and my entire philosophy was based on something outside of myself that I couldn't control. Don't make this mistake. Do you and put it out there because you like it. Letting other people define success for them rather than defining it for themselves. Theoretically, yes, but that's not how most humans work. Success is a social thing, always in relation to social constructs and others. It's in our nature to see it that way. We can modify a bit but tough to change. Marrying or living with or otherwise committing to someone who is mean to you and doesn't treat you well. Sleepwalking into marriage or living together because it's time, or nothing is really wrong, it's just not right. I've seen it unfold IRL way too many times. And I'm 43, and the first wave of divorces, second wave of marriages is in full swing, and while the window dressing differs on each of them, there are underlying realities in all the ones that don't work out. You gotta be your own advocate. If you think other people will fix the problems you have, you're gonna have a bad time. And it is okay to say no. I work in a nursing home, and it's absurd the amount of people that I've seen burn themselves out because they feel obligated to pick up extra shifts of come and early leave late when they're asked. You don't need a reason or excuse to say no. Also, take your allowed breaks at work. Take that time to decompress and your mental health will be better for it. I just say that I'm taking my break. I've stopped actually asking if it's okay. It makes it harder for anyone to object. Putting things off. We could do it more as kids because someone was there to pick up the slack, or stay on top of you to get something done. But as an adult, the consequences of waiting on stuff slaps you hard. Thank you. I was looking for this. A lot of windows open in life only to shut forever behind you once they've passed, and on top of that, you're also going to die one day. Seize the moment while you have it, because once it's gone, it's gone. Spending more because you're earning more. For me, this one cuts both ways. Now that I'm making good money, I can afford to spend more on quality things. Recent example. 2 years ago I bought a $250 electric snowblower. It lasted 2 years. I could have bought another, but instead decided to spend significantly more on a high-quality gas-powered snowblower that will likely last me decades. If you're buying lots of junk you don't need though, yet just don't. Thinking too much of what others think of them, or how they are perceived. I think this goes along with self-esteem, but I started feeling a lot better about myself when I let go of the fear of judgment. Cats showing their belly. I always fall into this trap and get scratched by my cat. Working a job you hate because it pays well but you're miserable. Also on the flip side of that, quitting a job you hate and then falling into the trap of self-isolated comfort and not working. I hate that I've kind of fallen into this. Quit a horrible warehouse job 18 months ago to try pursuing a job in my degree field to not much luck yet. I've tried to do projects, rework my resume, upskill, etc. But after so many rejections it's real easy to burn out and convince yourself that you should just lose yourself in something else for a few weeks because it's more comfortable. Picture this, your manager pulls you aside and asks you to do a little extra work. You want to move up in the company. You like your job, you say yes, your manager says, "Thank you do much for doing this. I see great things in your future, keep up the good work. We're watching and we don't know what we'd do without you." Next week, your manager pulls you aside and asks you to do a little extra work. You want to move up in the company. You like your job, you say yes, your manager says, "Thank you do much for doing this. I see great things in your future, keep up the good work. We're watching and we don't know what we'd do without you." You keep doing all this extra work and taking on all these extra responsibilities that they normally have a supervisor or manager do. But you're doing all this extra work at your base pay, which to them is for free. Please realize they have no intention of promoting you if you're doing a ton of extra work for them and they aren't compensating you for it. Then it's time for a raise and all they can focus on is the one time something wasn't perfect. Excuse me, there were 200 other days of work you had no issue with. Having kids because society said they should. Nothing against kids, parents, etc., but the pressure to have kids is immense from family and or religion in most areas' cultures. More often couples have to explain why they chose not to, or couldn't have. Having kids to save their marriage. Literally the worst thing you can do. Having a kid adds so much stress and sleep deprivation. If your relationship is already struggling, none of those things will make it better. I'm a nanny and I have met so many parents who have told me they regret having kids. Plus, not that many people realize what a big toll having kids can be on someone's mental health and relationships. Especially if the kid has special needs or gets really sick. Multi-level marketing. Someone got me to go to a seminar, and the rhetoric was what a lot of people want to hear about themselves for validation. Same as any other cult. Unfortunately for those who get sucked in. One of the biggest traps in life is not picking yourself up after a failure, letting yourself go and sinking to the bottom. Depression will sink in and you'll start to lose everything. Extremely heartbreaking when you see someone you loved through this. They will stop caring and become suicidal, because they feel there is nothing left to live for, when in reality they still are alive and that's all that matters. The world isn't better with less people, it's better with people who adjust and live for the better. Procrastination. Tomorrow is always the busiest day of the week. Always staying in your comfort zone. Trick question: I'm uncomfortable everywhere. But it's comfy and warm. Having an elaborate, expensive wedding that does nothing but stress everyone out and bankrupt you. Alcoholism and drug abuse. Eventually getting high stops being fun, but you can't stop because your body is physically dependent on it. It sucks. And alcoholism is more people than anyone wants to admit. What's one of life's biggest traps that people fall into? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.